yes, AeiS is learning that we don't actually start the game at the 0-minute mark. We're playing ads during that, so all the time he advertises his Twitter or gives shoutouts right at the start of the game, but nobody ever sees it. And I think he just became aware of that now. So it's good in one sense. It's bad for his shoutouts, but it's good in that it means he's clearly not stream cheating, because he's been doing it for like weeks and nobody told him. And he had no idea. But up here on the top right-hand side of the map, we have the blue Terran player who is still ranting about who he is. And this is from the official Dust Gaming team. He is... he is Alceister. And down here on the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have from Team Imperative Gaming, not only Imperative Gaming, it is apparently Imperative Gaming X for some reason. It's like the 10th iteration of Imperative Gaming. This is our Teal Protoss player. He is AeiS. Got the gateway done, cybernetics core coming down. He's making a zealot. He may let it finish, he may not. It's common to make those and then cancel if you don't actually need it to kill an engineering bay block or something like that. Or he could just let it go ahead. A Reaper is out for Alceister here now, and he throws a reactor down after that. We've got a probe from AeiS carrying on his merry way into the third base of this other horizontal spot, where he is no doubt going to put some sort of shenanigans down a little bit later on. But a Reaper will hop up into the main base of AeiS here. The mothership core not quite out yet, but will spawn right now, taking some shots against this Reaper who looked like he was going to dive for a kill. Does pull back though with just one hit left and doesn't finish off the probe there. Probably a good choice. You don't want to lose the Reaper just for the single probe there. The probe that had been hiding off on the other side has actually just kind of come back to harass the command center being built. Will get shooed away by these two Marines. He may actually attack. I thought he might try that, but not quite enough damage on that SCV to take it out before he was going to be killed by either the Reaper or the two Marines. Stalkers are coming out, second one for AeiS on his side of the map here, and two of them right away. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. The Twilight Council is going to be coming down here out of AeiS. Usually when you do open double or more Stalkers, then you could be looking to move into some sort of blink play here, or else using them to guard a higher level attack. But in this case, Twilight Council will likely research the blink, I would very well imagine. And it is a pretty decent map to execute blink on. There's a good amount of distance between the front of the natural and the other blink spot, so it's hard for the army to actually move from one to the other. The Stalker poking on forward into what is a pretty sizable number of Marines. They're actually out very aggressively at the third base position as well. Had there been, say, Oracle Tech or anything like that, could have been a little issue on Alceister's side, but that obviously is not the case here. And he will be just fine. Blink is underway for AeiS. He's actually still only on the one gateway here, with Warp Gate actually finished. And he's going into a robotics facility as well. So this very well may not be a blink all in, maybe just a blink opening, but into the robo type of play. The Reaper will come up, mothership core taking some hits. These Stalkers will put some damage, kill that Reaper off before he does get in range to actually see that the Twilight Council is there, but sees the robo. So may assume that that is by itself the tech of choice, or may figure from what's missing in the base. Like, there's really not a lot there in terms of gateways. Two more of them are coming down. So he may infer that there actually is something somewhere else that he wasn't seeing, or may just take that at face value and figure that it is just the Robotech. In either case, on Alceister's side of things, we've got the 3 barracks, factory, and starport coming down now. No indication of anything kind of wonky like Banshees coming out. or anything like that. His stim has finished up, which is relatively early here. For sure, Combat Shields is underway as well. So he's kind of gearing up as if this is going to be a bit of a strong bio push or bio pressure, at least. The way that he was positioned before almost indicated like a quicker third, and maybe that's what he was trying to convey. Either that or just kind of figuring it was easier to hold the ramp position as opposed to being back at the natural like that. But it was kind of a very aggressive posture for the original bio. So he may have been doing it more to conceal what was going on than actually take the best defensive posture that he actually could. Scan going off on the natural there, still seeing just primarily gateway units, not getting any sense of the higher level tech that is out, because Colossus Robotics Bay is out, but he has not yet begun production there. The first one just starting after, did he cancel? I think he had a warp prism that was literally 5 seconds away from done and has actually canceled that. He's threw down 4 gateways immediately after that and is now getting the Colossus out. Here, we've got SCVs coming. This is the pull. Where's Photon Overcharge? Is that available there? Comes down now. Nice force field to keep half the army out, but there's not a whole ton of gateway here. AeiS probably needs to abandon this position. Wants obviously to let the Photon Overcharge do some damage, but really needs to be getting up the ramp. Does blink up in that position. The first Colossus does come out. No more sentries though. Tried to wall off there a little bit. The Colossus without range is going to get charged on immediately here. There's so much bio. This probe count is not going to be able to really clean this up. It's going to be hard for him to make a big enough warp in to save things. So many probes are gone. Basically everything is gone. The Colossus is miraculously still alive, but does fall there now. AeiS calling that one well played. It was a good timing to pull the boys there. Research Station. This is where the Vani do all of their research into I don't know, lupus or something. We have down here on the bottom middle of the map from Team Imperative Gaming dropping the first game. He is AeiS. And his opponent taking game number 1 with a very decisive bio and SCV pull attack. It is from Dust Gaming, Alceister. Opening in a fairly similar way, although I expect some deviation given the type of map it is. Again, talking about the defended natural, that it is internal, obviously, to the base. We'll see what AeiS goes with as attack path this time around. Was a little less decisive in the last game. I think going for the blink tech, going for the robo was a little bit all over the place in what was actually going on, and then didn't have enough at the critical time. There is a Reaper coming out for Alceister here, as to be expected. Fairly decent map for the Reaper, just in terms of area to get up. It's not the best, not the worst at all, but can definitely get a good scout around of what's going on. AeiS is starting again with a Zealot. He does seem to at least start pumping that out to prevent any blocks. And yeah, there's the cancel. So that's what he is. I mentioned it in the first game. Canceled as soon as he sees that the natural is not being blocked, and that's fairly common for Protoss to be doing. With the Cyber Core done, a little bit of a delay in the creation of the mothership core, so the first Reaper that is coming in could get a probe kill or 2 here. Now chrono boosting out that mothership core, but there will be a little bit of a window in which that can get some damage done. A proxy factory is also coming down for Alceister, as the Reaper does come in here to start picking away at these probes. 2 probes do in fact go down before the mama ship is able to drive away that Reaper. warp gate research. Obviously, a stalker coming out there as well. And we'll see if he has any idea. Okay, he's going to have an idea based on the pylon placement. He's got a pylon in his natural that is going to spot this factory as soon as it comes into land. So he's kind of caught Alceister a bit red-handed here. However, with that said, he's moving his things over to deal with that. But that's when the Reaper comes back in. The mothership core is going back to deal with the factory, but it's still going to be able to actually pump out this Widow Mine. And even with awareness of the fact that it's happening, he's not going to have detection for a little while. So he's still got to be careful that this will get some damage done, even though it's just right in his face like that. As it will likely pop out, try and burrow either under the mothership core, make a run for the mineral line, something like that. There it is, burrowing right under the mama ship, does hit it, and comes very close to killing when it does go off on the mama ship, but not quite enough. Again, doing just about the right amount of shield bonus on those to do a little bit of excessive damage. It's plus 40% to shields. The observer now will get it before the reset of that Widow Mine. Has to pull the stalker back into a safe range, at which point he can directly attack the Widow Mine, and that has been cleaned out without significant damage, really just with the hull damage done to the mothership core there. The pickup and Marines are now coming into the front door. There is one stalker, which went totally the wrong way and is just going to die. To those Marines. Probes will have to be pulled back, but as the mothership core is now free to come, they don't get any more damage done there. So the only thing that's been taken is the initial kills by the Reaper as they came in to do their work and just kind of took off. The factory has just kind of landed again. It's still, it's certainly severely damaged. It was not put into burning condition. Medevac dropping on in. Will it get seen quickly? Should be able to be seen by these stalkers. I guess not. They are moving out. The mothership is targeted right away, and because of the damage taken, does go down very, very quickly, but enough time for the photon overcharge to go off. We'll have to pull probes at the natural base here. The defense is kind of outside the base. Stalkers coming back on in. We'll start targeting that medevac down. Now we'll have to go after the Marines itself, but another stalker kind of getting lost there to a little bit of a sloppy play. The medevac really trying to get in and help out with that force, but because it's so low in health, won't be able to actually pick up the rest and ends up trading it off. Both players, despite these kind of like the factory itself, certainly a bit of a failed attempt by Alceister, and just the fact that he obviously got spotted coldly right at the very beginning. But despite that, the Reaper's been effective enough, and that drop has been effective enough to take out a few stalkers, I think 2 or 3 stalkers, take out the mothership core, take out a few workers, like 4 workers. I mean, the drop only killed 1 worker, but it killed like 2 stalkers and the mama ship, so that's certainly still worth it for just a little group of Marines. The warp prism now out on Alceister's side of the map, but turrets are coming up, just ringing this natural base here, and they're going to be ready by the time these 2 zealots come on in out of this mothership, out of this warp prism. Will he even bother with the drop off? Looks like no. He could have at least put the 2 zealots down, but obviously he wouldn't be able to convert and do a warp in at that location. This factory is still just kind of there as a probe goes out to place a pylon at the gold base. The warp prism coming back, he may decide to drop off at this point and attack the factory at least. 3rd base is coming down for AeiS. No start of a command center yet for Alceister on his side of things. Looks like he may be just gearing up once again for a fairly strong push at a certain amount of time here. He's actually adding the Ghost Academy on as well, which would be certainly conspicuous to do if you intended to go up to a third base at any point after that. The Viking count now starting to rise. There are 4 of them, but only 1 Colossus already out on the field for AeiS. His Gateway army also just not the strongest, not the most robust. Really missing zealots in this, and certainly missing a lot of the anti-air that you might expect at this point in the game. As we said, a few units did get picked off just by these early attacks, like stalkers that very commonly wouldn't die, were just picked off one by one. Like, not a lot, but you know, a number that does still register when you're trying to deal with Vikings later on in the game like that. We get the start of both a Templar Archives and a Dark Shrine at the same time as 3 gateways, and AeiS is investing very heavily into something that will not end up paying off for a little bit of time in the future here. But I do have to question if he's going to get very much time. Alceister obviously going for some sort of 2-base all-in here. He's brought his Burning Factory back, now repairing that back up, but he's made no move to expand to a 3rd base yet. Instead, just building up an army as heavily as he can, I guess, off of this economy here. And yeah, it looks like now is going to be the move out time. Storm is still about 100 seconds away, so that will not play a huge factor in this, not to mention the fact that ghosts are already out on the map for our Terran player Alceister. The Dark Shrine, however, is much closer to being finished, and a DT backstab, or DTs coming in as part of the defense here, given that there are only 2 orbitals, he may have a limited number of scans that is available. But it looks like the SCVs are going to be pulled again for this attack on Alceister's side of things. Storm, if it is available in time, will be an absolutely huge asset in this. But again, the Gateway army is actually so small. There's High Templar there. He may get the time just because of the extra time and effort it took to pull the SCVs along with this. But the Ghost could certainly put a big kibosh on all of that. But obviously 1 Storm on a pack of SCVs just completely invalidates them. AeiS once again is going to be put to a decision of, does he abandon the base that is actually being attacked, or does he attempt to defend directly at that point? AeiS has a lot of money, has a lot of production. He does know that this is coming. He can see it with observers. He saw it with the hallucinated Phoenix. He has to be aware of it. A scan coming down, preemptive photon overcharge going off on the Nexus here, knowing that the attack is absolutely imminent. The Ghost coming in will try and blanket things. Nice EMPs going off, but a huge storm still on the middle of the army. DTs coming in as well. Big warp in of those. The Colossus trying to stay safely back here, pull away from the Bioforce. Vikings are going crazy on them, and the Colossus are taken out, but DTs have been almost completely unnoticed in this. I don't think he knew that he had the scan or didn't have one, and they are there now with no GG whatsoever from Alceister. The arrogance is gone in the quick pull there. We are back here on Inferno Pool Sport game number 3. The series is tied up at 1-1 right now, and they are in the cross positions on what is quite a large map here. We have up in the top right-hand corner of this map our Teal Protoss player from Team Imperative Gaming X. It is AeiS. There you go. That's better timing, AeiS. That is better timing. I don't know, though, why he links, like, HTTP, Twitter.com. Like, people put at in their damn Twitter. Anthony, come on. Get your shit together. And over here on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have from Dusk Gaming. There we go. That is the way to do it. We have from Dusk Gaming, our Terran player. He is Alceister. Nice. I don't know if I'm this, Dave. Yeah, probably. It's always good to shout out to your Nona. So we also have a Reaper opening yet again from Alceister. It's worked fairly well for him so far, or at least in the last map. That Reaper did cause a little bit of damage and some annoyance to AeiS there. And there is still a few ways to get in and out of this base, so can definitely be good, particularly on a big map, as a bit of a scouting tool. He has also sent the SCV out to take a look around as well, so he wants to make sure he knows where his opponent is fairly quickly on this one. Yet again, AeiS is fairly diligent with these like preventative pylons to spot in certain areas, so he does tend to put them around the corners of his base to make sure that he can see anything that, like a drop coming in, or in the previous game, obviously see the factory that was trying to place widow mines down. That can help. It looks like Alceister is going for the same thing again, though, for a proxy factory there. The Reaper poking around. This time he may have actually identified like a good spot, that there is the location in the middle where the two pylons wouldn't be able to see if he does land. So this may be a little bit of proxying plus scouting, but we have a robotics facility coming out for AeiS here yet again, and a stalker kind of wandering in position. Obviously he's looking for the Reaper, but if he goes a bit on a patrol here, could end up finding the factory by accident. Mothership core chasing the Reaper away yet again. Yeah, see, and here's the thing. The Mothership core is now patrolling the edge, and he's just going to see the factory again. So it's kind of a thing where your own success gets in your way. That he's so worried about the Reaper itself that the paranoia about the Reaper makes him find your other thing. He will be chronoing out the Observer here, the Widow Mine, trying to get on out. AeiS playing a little different this time. He doesn't want to take a hit on the Mothership core. So yeah, as the Widow Mine comes, he's just going to actually just kill it. Doesn't even need the detection in that particular case. And then go into to Gateway. So obviously knowing that there is a bit of a cost to that, but there is a starport back home already. He has continued up with tech. Alceister does seem to be a fan of the quicker stim timings here. Does get them a lot quicker than a lot of Terrans these days. And knowing that the Reaper has actually been taken care of this time, the Stalkers are going to go out and be more aggressive against this factory, and the Mothership core is coming with it. So if he was to run into a group of bio or something, and he is actually checking the watchtower first as well. I'm not sure what he's doing exactly. But yeah, doesn't want to super overextend here, I guess, just in case he does run into something. Doesn't want to go beyond that point. But backing it on up, it looks like a medevac is picking up and going towards AeiS's base. No, he's just going to drop off over at the other watchtower and I guess take that position. Maybe he expected to still find units out there. We'll pick up yet again and make his way towards that position. Now there is a pylon on the low ground, which I guess again is like a spotting pylon. And he will be able to warp in one stalker, moving a few over to grab that medevac. We'll pick up a Marine, not two. Picks up the pylon, but obviously as a prevention method to stop that drop, certainly worth it. You know that AeiS is overall pretty prepared here for what his opponent has been doing so far. Sometimes just stumbling onto it, as was the case with that factory. But in this case, the drop obviously spotted quite intentionally by the pylon on the low ground. And a good call on that. More gateways coming on the fringe of the base. 2 of them will get picked up by this scan. 3 of them, however, will not. It almost appears that AeiS is the one gearing up towards a 2-base all-in this time around. May see that if his opponent's been doing a similar thing, then it may be time for him to pull it with some AoE damage. The Stalkers will take a poke in at this, get stemmed down. He's going to have to retreat from this position, actually pretty aggressively. Nice force fields, and with the second Colossus coming in here, he does thin this out a lot. There's a lot of damage, and it's amazing that that bio does die to completely expose Colossus. But yeah, just had taken too much. I think he actually even stemmed twice there, which certainly doesn't help with the health. But two Colossus barely staying alive, but at the cost of all that gateway and at the cost of a lot of sentries. So what was going to be a I think a 2-base complete all-in, he may have to reevaluate that. Even though he picked up a lot of army, that doesn't matter for the Terran. It does matter for the Protoss that he lost all those supporting gateway units, because the Colossus eventually may go down, but you know, you do need that gateway support. The Vikings here, though, are going down to early pokes by the Stalkers, and that's certainly not going to help anything out, and that may help shift things back into AeiS's favor in terms of doing this this actual timing attack again. He's got some pylons up to support this behavior. He sees some pylons around his base, wants to try and clear them up, but is kind of letting his opponent know where he is. One medevac will get picked off here. More Vikings going down before they can actually do anything to the Colossus, and little bit by little bit, Alceister's army is being disassembled here as they're trying to clean up those locations. Another proxy pylon coming in closer. The SCVs are being pulled off. He calls it. Might have been able to see it, but does call it here and backs off. Using the hallucination up front here, knowing that there's not going to be a detection. He's probably not going to want to blow a scan on this sort of thing either. Stalkers do come in. Will go against the bio first. The Colossus kind of going to town on the SCVs. Stalker's not always the best, but definitely good at taking out the anti-air, and the Colossus will finish the job. Once again, no GG from Alceister. The chattiness at the start of the game is gone now. Game number 4 between these gladiators of Overgrowth. Obviously, we are on Overgrowth, the most overplayed map in the map pool, but that, of course, will change in the future. Down here on the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our red Terran player, currently down 2-1 here. He has made some very strong timing attacks, however, throughout this series. It is from Dust Gaming. He is Alceister. And his opponent, who has so far shown the ability to adapt at least a bit to those 2-base type of Terran tactics, it is from Imperative Gaming, AeiS. And he's once again, and I think the key has really been this, at least in the early game, is this pylon spreading, making sure that pylons are spotting different areas in the base, things like that. A little bit of a different opening this time around for Alceister, as he is not taking gas, and it is the first time he's opened up with a Marine, I believe, here. Probe trying to pick off that one SCV, which will juke back away into the Marine here. Probe has no real escape path unless that supply depot stays down for him, which it shall not. And the SCV on the other side of things, scouting around. Once again, Probe goes down to place this Nexus potentially. We'll chase off the SCV. And there's the engineering bay block. Oh, that's really unfortunate, because every game so far, AeiS has started a Zealot, and then the moment he determines it is safe, that there's not going to be an engineering bay block, he cancels it. But in this particular instance, he got down there, saw that the SCV wasn't blocking it, canceled the Zealot, went to make the Nexus, but the XCV had moved back into position to block the thing, and now he's going to have to deal with this before putting that Nexus up. So unfortunate from him. Fortunately, though, is that it was not a Reaper opening for his opponent. Therefore, the Mothership Core did have the time to come over and help directly in that one. So a longer delay was limited a little bit there, just by the fact that obviously it was not a Reaper opening, and he had kind of the hand free to go ahead and do that. But still a bit of a delay, and it's just kind of funny since he prepared for it each time. Alceister taking out a probe as it comes across, controlling the watchtower there. One thing that I find notable about his strategy, and he may be doing this with information, but I think it's been quite possible in AeiS' game so far, as he has generally taken multiple gas, is he will tend to deploy his first troops fairly far away from his base. So we've seen him do it on a ramp to a third, and we've seen him do it at watchtowers like this. He's actually fairly active with the first handful of Marines or other troops that he gets out, such that if there had been a proxy oracle or anything, not really anything like that, I guess specifically that only, then it would definitely catch him off guard there. Whether AeiS has picked up on that, obviously he can't see things the way that we see things, so he may not think that that is a general rule or anything, but it definitely is an opportunity to look at, and it's a risk that Alceister's taking. It's a risk with certain benefits, as obviously he does have control and vision, and if a probe is coming by for pylons or anything like that, then he's much more aware of that fact. The Stalker trying to get a kill or two there, but he doesn't want to come into the high grass where 4 Marines are clustered. More Stalkers coming on, but it is a robotics facility out. A little bit of a supply block for AeiS, but is now cleared up. So I think that was a bit of a wasted chrono on the robo just due to that. But not the hugest deal in the world, but that sort of thing can add up on you. On Alceister's side, adding a starport down now. He's shown no tendency towards a Banshee or anything like that, at least not so far. He's tended to stick with the basic bio, medevac, Viking type of count, the full-on Terran, basically this standard Terran type of play. While he's made the proxy Widow Mines before, he hasn't really had a Widow Mine incorporation into the main army either, which some Terrans do, some do not, and obviously not really no inclination towards mech there either. Mostly viewing the factory, I guess, as just a waypoint to the starport itself. Observers coming out. We'll take a look around what Alceister is doing in his base. We once again have the Colossus check choice by AeiS. That has been his go-to in most of these games here so far tonight. And this one is no different. Once again, a fairly large bio number from Alceister. Troops coming on out in fairly heavy number. Now double pumping out the medevacs, showing no indication again that he's going to be going to a third base or anything like that. He hasn't shown like a lot of awareness maybe of observers. Now this time he's going to drop, so this is a little bit different than he has before. We've gotten just like one dropship before, but now he is going for a little bit of a split push, and this time around there's not a whole ton there to actually defend on AeiS' side of things. He will recognize that the drop is coming. Whether the other force is really large enough, AeiS does split off. Nice force field there to control things, but there's no zealots with this, so we'll be able to chew through a little bit. The Colossus does go down, and there's really nothing left to answer in the main base, as zealots do get warped in, helping AeiS clean up in the natural base and then diverting over to the main. But the main nexus is actually about to fall as he just straight up target fires that one down, and AeiS did not have enough to actually control both of those positions. Colossus taking a lot of damage, has to back on away from this. The zealots, nice force fields there, obviously, as the Marines are going to get cleaned up. The medevacs, however, do still live. He considered, I think, for a second dropping on the Colossus, but decided that that wasn't really going to work and moved back down to the natural. going after one of the medevacs. The remaining Marines do die. Medevac will be... will he finish it? Yeah, it takes one out. Don't think he'll get a second before it would boost away anyway. But now he's in the unenviable position of having to rebuild his main nexus here. Will be able to get a second Colossus back out. The first one, or not the first one, I guess it's the second one. The first one died as it went basically by itself to try and defend that drop, given that he didn't have much of a choice beyond that. The Observer is going to park itself again on top of this Vile Force, or actually fly right by it, but he's aware that it's there. A second one, we'll see it move on into position. One of the medevac's very low, but he's still got two to pick up and drop with. We'll take out the spotting pylon, and that actually is important in the sense that it supply blocks AeiS just for a few seconds, but that could certainly be the life and death of things. An Observer, again, spotting. AeiS has been pretty good with the Observer positioning throughout these games so far. He usually knows at least when these attacks are coming. Whether he has enough to actually defend them or not, that is, sometimes another story. But he does have at least enough to, does have enough awareness that it is coming. 3 Colossus now, maybe fairly decent at holding off this force. However, 6 Vikings will almost inevitably take them down, given enough time, and given that there are plenty of Marauders here. AeiS not wanting to actually move out against this does hallucinate yet again. That hallucinated Viking taking the first hits, that can be absolutely huge. Good force fields going down, but not a lot of Zealots are there, and AeiS gets very aggressive, not going out a bit too far. It may have been a lot better off had he waited for that to come to him, but wanted to clear it out, and Alceister takes that one with the huge Nexus snipe in the main base, and after that, it really became a lot more of a cleaning up operation. So we are back to 2-2, and we definitely have a tight series here. Expedition lost. The series is tied 2-2. This is why we play best of sevens at this point in the contest. We have up here on the top right hand side of the map, he is from Dust Gaming. It is our Terran player Alceister. And our Protoss player down on the bottom left hand side of the map, he is in the teal trunks from Team Imperative Gaming. He is AeiS. He let us know that at the start of the evening this was dedicated to Massa, who is playing in WCS qualifiers at the moment, and is a Terran, so I'm not sure why it's dedicated to Massa. I guess just sentimentality of Toronto. But he is moving on out with a probe across the map to go ahead and scout. Once again, double gas by AeiS. And, okay, so he is moving a probe down to the corner, well, not corner, I guess just the side middle of the map here, but behind the mineral line. This is gearing up as if it may be a Stargate, and it's possible that AeiS has noticed what I pointed out in the last game, that Alceister doesn't tend to keep troops in his mineral line. Not only not in his mineral line, but that he actually sends them fairly far out onto the map. I don't know if he'll do that this time, simply because there's no watchtower to hold. There's no like really special choke that you would want to be holding, as we've seen him do before. So that may not be the case, but either way, this is what AeiS appears to be doing, and it is a proxy Stargate coming down there. The Mothership Core will pop out to try and save this probe. It does go down, but the Reaper will be chased back away. Reaper, being alive, of course, has the opportunity to sense that something is indeed amiss, and now is usually the time in past games when AeiS, and I think he knows something's wrong because he's looking around, but this has been the time in past games that AeiS has gone ahead and dropped that natural down. That obviously won't be the case here, as he had to put the Stargate and he had to put the It has to get, obviously, an Oracle out. The Reaper is making a beeline for the Watchtower, but then changing direction to the other as an Oracle is being chrono boosted out. Marines immediately being moved to the mineral line, which is exactly where they should be going. So Alceister, really good star sense to be able to tell that this is in fact what's happening, that there is an absence on the side of AeiS, and he needs to be prepared for it. Now, this is interesting, though. He is diverting his Oracle over to the location of another... No, he's not. Here, okay. So is he going to follow it with the Void Ray instead, maybe? Yeah, Oracle comes in, sees that there's nothing to be done there, kind of goes hunting around other buildings, but is really kind of scouting the lay of the land, sees that there's no bunker up front. A Void Ray is coming out of that Stargate now. He wants to see what he can get for free, but he doesn't really want to commit this Oracle, and he doesn't really want to turn it on at the moment. Even if he could get a unit or two, unless it's going to be worth it, he doesn't actually want to turn that on because it's actually intended for a fight that's going to be happening a little bit later out of these gateways. Now, the Mothership Core is not moved on it up, but... some units... Okay, now he's going after the rocks. I'm not sure about that. I guess there's nothing to spot. The Oracle comes in. Now he is turning the beam on, goes after some of the SCVs. He does still have enough energy to go and make a good fighting force of it a little bit later on. He's still trying to keep this scouting, but wants to certainly divert attention away. It does get noticed, however, that the back rocks are being taken down. That is the problem with doing it like that, unfortunately. Often when you make the Void Rays, it's because you expect like a bunker to be there. There isn't one at the moment, but he also doesn't have troops. He doesn't have enough to actually attack this at all. Like at all. We'll have to pull a Void Ray back. We'll have to pull everything back here, really, as that was, again, just not enough to assault that position. The Mothership Core is not with them, and that is a complete all-in. Like, what he has done is a complete all-in, and the Mothership Core is at home, so that is an issue, absolutely, for him. The Void Rays will come here now. Marines coming across will try and defend that and prevent it from dying. A supply depot going down, but as Marines, just tons of them, make their way to the bottom of the ramp here, AeiS is going to get pushed back, but yeah, it's just hard to see where he goes from this point in things. There is a supply block, but the Void Ray production also stopped during that, and there's just not... He's not even in the ballpark of enough, unfortunately, here. The Mothership Core is still at home. And I know the tendency is to be like, well, the Mothership Core will defend me if there's a single drop or something like that. Yeah, I guess. But if it's not there to like time warp this or whatever, then you're dead anyway. So it doesn't matter. Supplies right now are currently the same. And obviously, yes, they're both on one base economy. So that's good. He's got a sentry in the mix now, which can be used to control that ramp a lot better. If the army does attempt to move down, he's at least more covered in that aspect than he was before. But as Widow Mines are there now, AeiS has to find a way to either transition out of this and move into an economy where they're both going to be on two base, or he does have to find a way to actually break through this. And unfortunately, doing it that way, just trying to bait the Widow Mine out doesn't tend to work, because he's going to have to pull back down. That Widow Mine will get reset, and you're just feeding it each time here, unfortunately. So with no detection, this is pretty rough. The Marine force, the Widow Mine force, is not going to be getting any smaller as we go here. The Mothership Core is finally going to be coming across the map to attempt to help out in this fight. I mean, right now where he is, like, it's one base to one base. Both players are on one base. That's fine. Widow Mine will go off on the probe. Also fine. He's trying to get some things done, but if he's not going to do something else behind, then that becomes the issue. That eventually there's a clock on this that the Terran will be able to move out with Stim, and this probably ends at that point. A Viking is coming out on the way, and there comes a drop. Should get, will it be close enough to be seen? Not certain. No detection still. If the Oracle is still alive, then obviously that can provide. It's not. So the drop that is eventually going to sneak back in. Now, is he thinking about it again? I think he saw that. Yeah. Saw that the Stargate was there and wants to take that out. Again, that is trying to make an Oracle. Coming in now. Force field's going off. Nice time warp on everything here. But there really is just so much alive, and maybe not enough zealots. Will there be enough, though, with the double time warp to take down the bulk of these Marines? There's still no way to deal with the Widow Mines themselves, which is unfortunate. But, yeah, there's the stem directly onto the Void Rays, and with nothing underneath it, everything is going to be going down. Alceister is going to seize control of this one, and there was unfortunately no backup plan for AeiS. He had time to build one, but did not. Now as the drop hits his main, he's forced to make the defensive warp in, and it's not even going to be enough by itself, unfortunately, here, as the Stalkers do get chased out. Some coming back on in, going after a pylon. And yeah, individual Stalkers getting mowed down, perhaps the overstem, but a good thing. Alceister always with the BM. Whether win or lose. Alrighty, and we are back here on what could be the final game of the night, but one of these players certainly doesn't hope so. He is on the top middle-ish side of the map from Team Imperative Gaming. He is our Protoss player, AeiS. And the one that does hope that it is over right here, right now, representing Dust Gaming, who he claims is NA's #1 team, he is Alceister. And back to opening with the gas here. We'll be starting up a Reaper right now. On this map, almost unheard of to not open up with a Reaper in some ways, as it's a pretty good one to get things up and down with. The SCV Scout does go out as well, though. He does tend to do that. He gets the Reaper and the SCV, which is kind of interesting. Like, I understood it on, he did it on Inferno Pools, but I think he does want it here for this purpose to potentially block the natural if he deems that is appropriate to do. And again, we've got that Zealot under construction, and it may or may not be canceled. It is canceled, and the Nexus does go down. Another pylon coming, and no Mothership Core has been started this time. There it is, just as I said it, starts and chrono boosts it. So he does opt to get that a tiny bit later. It sometimes means that he loses one probe, maybe two probes to the Reaper as it does come in. This time we'll end up saving that one as he pulls a probe to start working on the Reaper itself. He obviously values killing that fairly early, as it is, you know, if you can pick that up, then that's huge. You can just kind of tech in the direction you want, and they either have to blow a scan or do something else to get back in and see what is going on. But Alceister obviously is not going to lose the first Reaper to just a Mothership Core and a probe. And we're going to have the robotics facility put down in a, I mean, not super weird, but like kind of weird place. Somewhat maybe just deceptive, hope you don't find this sort of place. The Reaper coming back in. We'll take a look around the mineral line. Stalker trying to chase it down. Actually, I think missed one opportunity for a shot there as it stutter step without firing once. But the Reaper will skate on by yet again to heal up for another day. Does have one kill on him, but that is it in this game as he repositions. And we'll see. It's he wants to hide. AeiS wants to hide this robotics facility, but you know, it's not like that's a tricky or weird thing to be doing. He just doesn't want it revealed right away for free. Alceister again is just gearing up as if this is a hell-bent bio all-out attack. He's started stim really early. Yet again, I think this is one of the earliest that he's actually gone ahead and started that. He's getting combat shields at the same time. He's pumping out Marines, pumping out Marauders. There is no factory. There's no starport. There's nothing else coming with this at this point. Stalker's still trying to get rid of that Reaper. AeiS, if there's one major flaw in what AeiS has been doing so far, it is going so directly towards this Colossus tech that he's got nothing else. Not even, and then unfortunately supply block right here for a few seconds as he's trying to get that first Colossus out. He will actually cancel it and work on range. Actually, but we're going to get an attack so imminently from Alceister. I just know all the SCVs are going to end up coming with this, and there's so little in the way of gateway forces. It's all going to come down to this one Colossus. There's only one gateway. 2 more are coming down, but they are not going to be ready in time to help out with this. The Colossus will be out. It will not have range in time, however. The bio is coming across. Almost surprisingly, the SCVs are not yet joining this force, whether he hasn't decided to do that yet or he wants to continue to support. He's actually adding on an engineering bay, adding on a factory. So he's deviating from the all-in nature of this. But there's so few gateway units for, there's a Sentry, a Stalker, and a Colossus, and the Mothership Core. And there's so much bio. Right now, there's really just no way to stop this at the moment. As the bio stems forward, the photon overcharge going off, he has to pull back the Colossus immediately. Does manage to do that. Colossus does go down, the Mothership Core goes down, and AeiS's chances of winning this game die in 2 shots, basically. The probes are being pulled to try and control this. The Colossus is now up, and he's managed to keep some of these probes alive, but the durability of what is left is very low. Gateways are now coming online. He may actually, maybe I'm completely wrong here. I guess with one thing I didn't factor into that is there's no medevacs at all. So that totally stemmed army is just like that. That doesn't heal. Whereas usually when the Terran will pull back, now these are green again. That's not going to be the case, as there really isn't a starport up until now, and it's just starting to make the medevacs there. Colossus, second one, is coming out onto the map. No Mothership Core is being remade yet. Alceister is checking around to see if a third base is there, but yeah, what I thought was a complete defeat there. There were no forces left at all, but with the photon overcharge and no healing, the real key to that was no healing at all. If there was a single medevac, he could just stand in the photon overcharge. It wouldn't make any difference. But yeah, without it, now he will be picking up with 1 medevac full, some healing there. Now coming in, he's going to go for some sort of split drop here, which is a really good call given that AeiS doesn't have much opportunity. He's going to try and split his army, and it's not immediately in place to actually charge right in. Some of the sentries going down here, but the Colossus had a pretty good range. Coming in now, nice force fields, trying to go after the Colossus, but there are zealots up front, and is able to clean that up. 2 more Marauders trying to get back down again will drive this away. And AeiS has actually held that quite well. Probably doesn't want to fight on the cliff exactly like this, but we'll pick off another troop or 2 as it goes. Our worker count, a lot of them were lost in the initial attack at the natural, but probes actually in AeiS's favor here at this point. I think he's maybe thinking the healing is very limited and wants to come out. He's not very zealot heavy. But there's also only 2 Vikings out. As he comes in, I think he sees way more bio than he actually intended there to be. But all of this is very lightweight. So while everything will eventually get annihilated here, the bio is able to take it to Colossus. So I do think that was overall a big misstep, as the forces on Alceister's side are way more replaceable than those on AeiS' side. We do, however, have, I don't know what this was, like a stalker run by or something on the other side. I think it may have just been there to try and pick off reinforcements or something. But now that the Viking count is accumulating, and that was the real key, is they're going to take out the Colossus that's there a little too quickly, I think, for it to be able to really fire that many times. And it also forces a lot of this to be a stalker-based army, which he probably doesn't totally want it to be. The single Colossus in the back is joined by a buddy, which will go up front and try and eat the auto fire. In photon overcharge range, he manages to hold again. And if he could get, he could have gotten the one full medevac. Goes for the second one as it was out of boost, but does manage to get out. The Viking count had been reset there as he was fighting again in the middle of the photon overcharge range, which worked out great on AeiS' side of things. And yeah, this has been weirdly hard to predict. It seems like a lot of these fights should be going one way or the other, but not doing so as decisively as one might think. And I'm not even sure what these warp-ins are of stalkers that AeiS is trying to do on his opponent's side of the map. Like proxy, like 2-3 stalker warp-ins aren't something that you see a lot. Alceister still not showing signs of a third. AeiS not showing signs of a third base either here. He's very heavy on this overall stalker composition. Does seem to definitely favor that a lot. And given Alceister's tactics, he doesn't, it's a little weird how you often see most Terrans. He doesn't stutter step back. He tends to, in the absence, maybe it's because of the absence of zealots, he tends to try and stem forward and just attack and try and take out the Colossus and things like that, which could be seen as a little bit unusual, but it does work given that the Viking or that the zealot count isn't really there. Colossus trying to take some shots. These supply depots in an interesting position will be taken out. Actually makes a temporary supply block here. Stemming up to try and take this position. There are a lot more Vikings now. Force fields need to come down. One of them we're doing pretty good at choking, but as the Vikings fall, this is it. Alceister does take that. Alceister will move on to the grand finals of the Vanguard League to play the winner of our other semi-final, yet to be determined. Congrats to him.